right, guys, we're at the start of our preparation cycle. So you're gonna see a lot of weightlifting percentages over this cycle. If you have the tools to be able to implement those percentages, if you have the weights and plates, then great. If you don't, we can still get weightlifting in, and we can still kind of go at an RPE. You can play with the reps, you can adjust those things, but it's very, very crucial that we're still keeping up with our weightlifting. If we can. If we have nothing at all, then we can use a broomstick. And I know there's no fitness value to a broomstick, I realize that. But there is a lot of technique value to it, and at least like just for 5 minutes a week, playing around with a broomstick and then getting to maybe the non-equipment version of the workout, it's going to go a long way for when you get reintroduced to like real training. All right. Main thing about today, we're at the start of a cycle. We're gonna bring it back and cycle back to the start of the lift. So the first pull, and remember these lifts in weightlifting, it's an amazing tool, the snatch and the clean and jerk, to getting our athletes athletic. But first we need to start with good positions, and then we get athletic with those positions. So first pull in the clean. The biggest thing is the setup. So what you saw, and I'm gonna get Em to do that again because you guys probably missed that. So normally the bar's gonna be sitting off the floor, but Em's and you're gonna start with your hips a little higher. Some people go a little lower, but it's all the same thing. Whatever direction you're coming at it from, you'll see Em keep the bar there. She's gonna crank her hips down. When she cranks her hips down, she's not just going into position, she's cranking on tension right from her upper back through her heels, and that whole posterior chain is now on tension. So it's kind of like Em is pulling against a weight here. When she initiates that first pull, she's gonna push with her legs like there's a resistance, like she's pushing against the floor away from the resistance. As soon as the bar gets to her knees, it's like the weight's released and she does her clean, okay? And you see how good that technique was because she launched off that solid base. That first pull is crucial to our lifts, and so crucial that we can trace back a lot of faults from the initiation of that first pull. So I'm gonna get Em to do it with no weight. She's gonna pretend that I'm pulling against the bar, nice solid base, and then a nice clean, all right? So we're gonna do 4 of those at incremental percentages. So we'll get Em to just do 1 more for you, and then we're gonna transition to 1 jerk. Cool, and you can even hear that it's not even a barbell, and you can hear the thing rattle. So we'll get 1 more. When you stand up from your clean, we're gonna go into the jerk. Very nice. Okay, we're gonna stand up, and then we'll do 1 more for you so that you can see it. So rack position is crucial on this. We're not going to talk too much about this. I just want to talk about the same thing from the clean to the jerk. The first pull of the jerk is the dip, okay? So in that dip, it's crucial that it's okay to add speed unless your weight distribution is thrown off, unless your balance is thrown off. So if you dip with speed and that bar moves or deviates at all, okay, so if your knees punch forward because of speed, then you're not going to be getting the most out of this lift. What we want is control. If you can control that dip with speed, then great, okay? Then speed might be your friend. It's different for each lifter, but really what we want in that dip is a nice short dip, not too much. We just need a little bit, and then it's about the punch under, okay? So short dip and aggressive drive, and the main part about that dip is keeping that bar in a nice straight line. All right, guys? So just 1 thing to think about on each lift, the clean and the jerk. 1 thing on the clean, 1 thing on the jerk, and we'll progress from there. Next week we'll talk about the second pull, and then the drive on the jerk. All right, guys? So let's get lifting. All right, guys, so once you've exhausted that broomstick on the clean and jerk, this is our no equipment version. So we're gonna do 6 to 8 per leg, front loaded Bulgarian split squats. All right, so kind of light up those legs in kind of a clean catching fashion. Now you can use anything for this. You can use one, like our dumbbells are really heavy, so we're using one across the shoulders like this. You can always use two in a front rack. You can use a barbell in a front rack. You can Zercher carry a backpack or whatever you have on hand there. All right, so we're gonna hit both legs, and then in the remaining time, we're gonna do a seated floor press. And again, you can use your object, whatever object you use for that, you can use for the floor press. If you have one heavy dumbbell, then you can use it like this, grabbing both heads of the dumbbell, all right? So good little complex here. It's kind of hitting those the similar musculature to that clean and jerk, so that we're staying on track there, all right? So on the split squat, we want you guys to stay back, all right? Think about staying back. We talk about it every week. On the press, you notice how M's getting to that stacked position, okay? So M's pressing, locking out, all right? If we see her from a side profile, you can see M has a really nice straight line from her tailbone. And if you look at her lats, it's nice and straight. There's no angling in her lats. And then she's nice and straight through the elbow and to the dumbbell. Nice job, Em. All right, guys, got an LSD workout for you. Not the fun kind. Long, slow distance. So 21-minute AMRAP. We've got a triplet and just some like unilateral stability you're gonna have to deal with this. But nonetheless, just find a good pace and just stick to it, basically. So we start with a good old burpee. On the burpee, make sure that when we pop up, we're actually extending the hip. Like, I don't really care if you guys jump or not, but just make sure your hips open up at the top. Don't do those hunched over burpees that we do with like burpee over the bar. Like do some shortened burpees. Yeah, so if you're gonna, and we even see, believe it or not, way worse than this. If you're trying to go too fast, it's gonna happen, and you're not even gonna gain much time on that. I'm willing to bet my hard-earned money that Em can do full burpees. You guys do your hunched over ones and she'll still beat you. All right, next movement is odd object, or whatever object you have. RDL, single leg RDL, ground overhead. So looks like this. So Em's got to do a little bit of a thought process here, and then there we go. Cool. So it's basically a single leg snatch with an odd object. So this is going to add a little bit of stability. It might dampen the intensity a bit in this workout, but over time you should get the hang of it. We're going to alternate. Big thing on this one is a lot of times we see people when we do good mornings or any sort of like hip leverage. We see them, you demo on, because I can't even demo this, but we see them go straight legged because it's a lot easier to balance because you only have to think about your hip, because you can see the balance point is only the hip. But as far as power goes, that's not a good thing to do because we're already extended in the knee. So do that one more time. So the knee's already extended. When we get power, then we're isolated in the hip. Okay, in order to generate power, we want both the knee and the hip to be able to extend, therefore we need to bend the knee, all right? This might feel tougher for some of you stability-wise because you haven't developed the strength prerequisite in your hamstrings to be able to do that. However, this is how you develop the strength, by bending the knee. So all that said, bend your knees, guys. All right, so watch how Em bends her knees and she'll get a lot more force and power in that hip extension. Okay, it is called the hip extension, but we use a triple extension in order to get that. So we use the ankle, knees, and the hips in order to generate that force with the ball going overhead. And that's gonna prevent us from over pulling with our arms through the middle. So you see how I bent her elbows on that last one a lot. It's because she didn't have that hip extension working in her favor. All right, we get that hip extension working, and we don't have to bend the elbows as much, and then we can keep that ball nice and close, all right? So feel free to use whatever you have on hand for that one. Then we've got our speed skater lateral jumps. Notice how we have our markers set up. Same thing with you guys. So this one is gonna be more dynamic stability than the latter, or the former. So I'm gonna really drive on each stride And notice the markers are there to hold her accountable, just like we introduced last week. All right, so she's got to land that foot just at those markers. All right, have fun with this one, guys. Try not to think too much.